Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing well. If you are new here, welcome to my channel, my little corner of the interwebs where I chat about what I've been knitting on, what I've been sewing on, and whatever other crafty rabbit hole I happen to be diving down. And yeah, I'm just so happy you're here. If that is your jam, gather around, grab a cup of something. I do not have a cup of anything, I just realized. I need some water, and this house is fresh out of Diet Coke. I'm not even going to touch the coffee because it's just not going to happen. But anyway, I might pause and grab myself a cup of water in a bit. But since I'm on a roll, I'm going to keep going. I don't have any finished objects to share with you, but I do have some progress on some projects that I've been working on. I've been making progress on them. So hello, I have a show for you. This is good news. But anyway, I'm trying to think if there are any announcements that I want to touch on before I get into all of that. Rhinebeck is this weekend. The New York Sheep and Wool Festival is this weekend. It's happening in Rhinebeck, New York, and it's just a magnificent sheep and wool festival. It like people from all around the world descend upon this one particular sheep and wool fest because it's awesome. There's so many barns, so many vendors. It's outdoors. It's in New York when all the magical foliage is happening. There are sheep, there are animals. It's magical. It is the knitters, fiber enthusiasts, Disneyland, if I had to describe it as such. And yeah, I've been going to this thing ever since I met my husband. He grew up in Poughkeepsie and said, this is before I fell hardcore into knitting. I mean, I dabbled, but was not into knitting. But he took me to my very first Rhinebeck, and he's like, you have to see this place. My parents took me here when I was younger, and there's sheep, there's wool, it's magical. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is this place? So I've been going every year since, up until I want to say the year before the pandemic hit. I took a year off just because, truth be told, as I'm getting older, I realize that, I am an introvert, and I realize that crowds, they don't intimidate me, but I have a low threshold for them, if that makes any sense. So that year I was feeling particularly overwhelmed, and I just decided to take some time off, take a year off from Rhinebeck. Cue pandemic, didn't go to Rhinebeck for 2 years, and then this year rolls around, and I'm just kind of like, do I want to go? I was very much on the fence, and at the end of the day, I kind of decided I'm just gonna let it go. I'm not going to go. Until last Friday, my mother-in-law, hi Carol, she texted me and she goes, are you guys going to Rhinebeck? Cue FOMO. FOMO kicks in, and I was like, I really do want to go. So I talked to Dennis, and I was like, what do you think? Should we go? And he's like, why don't we go on a Sunday? Hopefully the crowds won't be as crazy. So why don't we go on a Sunday? And I was like, that sounds great. So booked a last minute hotel, believe it or not, Saturday to Sunday, everything was booked, but we were able to find something Sunday to Monday. So I'm going to Rhinebeck on Sunday, guys. All that to say that if you are going to Rhinebeck and will be there on Sunday and you see me, please do say hello, come up to me. Don't be shy. It's just when I'm surrounded by a lot of people that I'm just kind of like, that's just who I am. And I'm realizing that about myself, and that's okay. That's, we got to make it work. And my perfect idea of a Rhinebeck is going on a Sunday when it's a lot more chill. So anyway, again, if you are there and you see me, say hello. As for my Rhinebeck sweater, I'm still a little bit on the fence about it. I don't know what I'm going to wear. Again, the weather's very iffy when it comes to Rhinebeck. One day it could be 80 degrees, sunny, beautiful. Another year it could just be freezing cold, rain, snowy. I'm gonna bring some choices. And come day of, I will make a decision. So sorpresa, it will be a surprise. But anyway, if you are going, I hope you have your Rhinebeck sweaters picked out. I hope you have your shopping lists picked out. If you're not going there to shop, I hope you're just going there to hang out with friends, have a great time, pet some sheep, eat some excellent food from the excellent food vendors that are there. I personally am looking forward to some good eats. All right, enough Rhinebeck ramble. Let's get into what Margot the mannequin is wearing, because she's wearing something that I am particularly proud of, and Rhinebeck adjacent, because this is yarn that I've accumulated from Rhinebeck over several years. Because, first of all, she's wearing the Quill shawl by Jared Flood, And this is something that I knit for myself, I want to say 2 years ago. It was during the pandemic. I knit it as my birthday shawl. And I knit it out of Foxhill Farm, which, if you're not familiar, they are my go-to, my beeline booth that I go to when I go to Rhinebeck. I just have to go to them because they have the most delicious Cormo yarn. I'm going back there this year, and I'm probably going to get an SQ, a sweater quantities worth for myself, because this yarn, as I said, every year I just kept going back and getting more and more because I bought one skein and I couldn't find a project for it. So I went back, got another skein, still didn't have a project for it. 3 years in the making, I finally had enough to make something, and I stumbled on the Quill shawl, and the pattern and the yarn just, it had to be. So I made it. Unfortunately, I realize I don't get a lot of wear out of this shawl. I don't know why. If I had to guess, it's probably very, very big and bulky, too bulky for me to wear under a coat. But it is very warm, and I should just get in the habit of wearing it in the mornings because, winters, especially here, I feel like we haven't endured a full winter in this house, but I feel like come winter, it's going to get a little chilly, and this will be very, very handy. But yeah, here it is close up. It's just a really beautiful, simple, straightforward hap shawl. And it does have a knitted on border, which looks like it took forever to knit, but honestly, if I recall, the stitch pattern was very intuitive. It was very memorizable. I love that. So it was just very easy to execute. So yeah, I mean, the yarn, I'm so, yeah, I can wax poetically about this yarn until the cows come home. It's just so delicious. Delicious, yummy, and squidgy. Is squidgy a word? I don't know, but I love it. But as you can see, it is a little bulky on me, but at the same time, it's very, very warm. So I think this will just become something that I check on in the mornings, because look at that. Yeah, guys. It's like a warm hug. Highly recommend the pattern. Highly, highly recommend the yarn. If you can get your mitts on some Foxhill Farms, just throw your money at it. It's so worth it. I will say that Foxhill Farm does not have an online presence. They do have a phone number and an address. I think typically they only vend at yarn festivals, but I will put all of their information down below. I'll link to their Ravelry page. But yeah, they are just so good. I love Foxhill Farm yarn. Yeah. So that is my Quill shawl. And, I think just wearing it at home is, going to prevent it from getting a lot of wear and tear. I mean, even though it feels like sturdy yarn, I mean, it is buttery soft. Cormo is I would say better than cashmere, dare I say. I know, the horror. I'm a monster for saying that, but I guess with the lace, and because it's like a traditional hap shawl and it's made with, like this rustic fiber, rustic in the softest sense possible, I just look at it as an heirloom knit, like something very special. I knit it for my birthday. I want it to last a very long time. So I think just wearing it at home and not wearing it out, it's gonna hang in there for quite some time. All right, let's move along to works in progress. As I mentioned, I don't have very much to write home about this week, but I have made progress on my Travel Mode 2.0 shawl by Susanne Sommer, also known as Sosu Knits. And here we are. This thing is just growing. It's growing, it's growing, and it's growing. So I'll stand up so you can see it. We are beyond midpoint. And yeah, it looks a little, this part here looks a little janky, a little wonky. I might have to flip it over on the back side and just tighten up my stitches right over here. Yeah, I think once I just tie this off and knot it and then weave it in, I think that little gap right there will just suck right in, and it'll be aesthetically pleasing. So anyway, I'm trying to think what I want to say about this other than, yeah, just miles and miles of endless garter stitch. This construction is just so incredibly clever. I mean, for simple garter stitch, just going in every which direction. It's like Sosu Knits, Susanne Sommer, she is a pattern writing genius. I have no words. She's incredible. Someone was asking me, they wanted to see the back of this shawl because, and I get it. I get it. Some people are obsessed with floats. You're obsessed with the backs of shawls. I see you, I hear you, and I will indulge you. So this is the back. And it is kind of really satisfying to see like all these nice little, selvage stitches. They just look like nice little braided, I don't know how well you can see that, but they're just these really tidy little braided edges, and it just looks so neat. Like floats, they are very satisfying to look at. Anyway, lots of ends to weave in eventually. And yeah, I don't mind weaving in ends. I find it kind of relaxing, just popping on a YouTube video or an audiobook and just sitting there with a darning needle going in and out. I don't mind it as much as others. But yeah, anyway, do you guys want to see a video on how I weave in ends? Let me know. Comments down below. I might be able to make it happen. And I'm trying to think what else. The yarn is my hand-dyed yarns, Voolenvine yarns, mostly on my Nouveau base, which is a single ply superwash merino held together with mohair. And there is one other yarn in here that is not mine. It is by Wobble Gobble Yarns in her Fence colorway. It's this shade right here. It's so pretty. I'm obsessed with, lately I've just been kind of obsessed with teal and orange, that color combo together. It's just, yeah, it's very cinematic. Like if you go to the movies, a lot of cinematographers and films will color grade their films to have like this orange teal hue. And maybe it's just the movie geek in me because I went to film school and everything, but it is a very aesthetically pleasing color contrast or color combo. So anyway, there's a whole science behind it. And I love geeking out over that. But yeah, that was Fence. And then the other colorways that are mine are, what is this? Tiptoe, Courtesan, not Courtesan. What is it? Like the steroid cream for psoriasis? No, that's not what it's named after. I named it after French courtesans, think King Louis and, anyway, you know what I'm talking about. And then also I used Succulents. So, which is this really pretty kind of sea glass green, I guess. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, that's where my Travel Mode 2.0 shawl is. I might take this with me when I go to Rhinebeck to knit on in the car. This one, or I might take my Easy V by Caitlin Hunter. And guys, I cannot put that, like I've been working on that, but believe me, I had to put this down so I could work on that, but this has just been so addictive. I mean, I'm at the point where I'm just on Body Island knitting around and around and around. I did bring this with me to pick up every stitch over the weekend, and it just made for great conversation knitting, again, because I'm on Body Island. But since I last showed this to you, I have separated the sleeves. Huzzah. So here we are. Is this the back or the front? This is the back. Okay, so this is the front. And guys, yeah. This is such a fun pattern. I mean, the color work, super easy. I was done with the color work in I want to say about 2 days, and that was like sitting down for about like maybe 2 hours a day, just knitting on it. So yeah, it flies. And yeah, if you're new to color work, this is your jam. The colorway looks more complex than it actually is because Spin Cycle has that, marled gradient effect happening in it, but it makes it look more complicated than it really is. It's super simple, straightforward color work knitting, I think, guys. So yeah, very beginner friendly. There's just one row in here where you have to knit with 3 colorways at a time. But be patient, it's just one row. By the time you get to it, you will have already had a lot of practice working with 2 colors at a time. So you'll be a pro by row, whatever row's here. So anyway, yeah, thoroughly enjoying this pattern, and I cannot wait to wear it. After I separated the sleeves, I did try it on, and it fits me perfectly, even like this V shape right here. It's gonna be a little flash dancey, but I'm here for it. I love the look of it, and I think this is gonna get a lot of wear come the winter. So anyway, I'll stand up so you can see. Yeah, it matches my shirt. Look at that. Who knew? Oh goodness, but yeah, the yarn again is Spin Cycle for the color that I used for the color work. So we've got Stay Ready, which is this, neutral gray, brown, black marl happening, and then we have Deep Bump, which is the teal, and then Salty Dog for the yellow. And loving, loving, loving the way these colors are playing together. So awesome. And yeah. So, and then for the main color, I should say, the main color is Knitting for Olive. They're merino worsted in the dusty rose colorway. Obviously, I'm not going to be done with this in time for Rhinebeck, although it would have been nice to have this done for Rhinebeck. But at the same time, I have been thinking about, which sweater I would want to wear on Sunday. And it's kind of a toss-up between my Fiola and my Birkin, another pattern the Fiola is by Isabel Kramer. The Birkin is also by Caitlin Hunter, who designed the EZV as well. But that pattern, the Birkin, has to be my favorite sweater that I have ever knit. If I have a favorite child, it is the Birkin. So I think, if I had to choose, I think the Birkin is what's going to get worn, weather permitting, on Sunday. So anyway, thinking out loud, guys. So I'm trying to think what else I want to say about this sweater other than I'm loving it. It's beautiful. Cannot wait to wear it. Just a couple more inches on Body Island and we'll hop onto Sleeve Island. And then we've got more color work on the sleeves. Can't wait for that. And I know I have some other patterns in the wings that I mentioned on my, the episode where I talked about, my unfinished objects that I just kind of have marinating, languishing. My Nightingale, I have not forgotten about my Nightingale. I do want to finish that. I don't know. I just want to get this stuff off the needles first. I don't know why. Knitting priorities. But my Nightingale, that is in active status now. And some of you were asking me about my Don't Look Up pullover. That is coming too. Again, guys, I can only finish a few things at a time. I do want to finish that though. So anyway, that I believe is all the knitting content I have to share with you. Quilting still on the back burner, but there has been sewing. As I mentioned in the last episode, I've been working on my Halloween costume. That project is full steam ahead. I am vlogging my process. So if you would like to see those vlogs, those are going to be available to members only. So again, if you enjoy this channel and you're enjoying what I do here and you want to support it, feel free to become a member by clicking on the join button down below, and you can unlock a few perks, including the Monday Waffle, which is my very, very casual Monday vlog where I just chat about, what's top of mind creatively, what I got up to over the weekend, a little bit more about my creative process, and I sprinkle in other vlogs along the way, including the making of my Halloween costume. If you are just tuning in, I am indeed going as Elaine from the movie The Love Witch. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, I'll leave a link to the trailer down below so you can check it out for yourself. But I am making this costume. So, this isn't actually a costume. It's a pattern by McCall's, a vintage pattern that I tracked down on Etsy. On eBay. McCall's 2049, and it's out of print, but I managed to find it, and I'm going to be making a combination of this version and this version. So it's going to be this dress, but with long sleeves. It is going to be red. I got this really awesome, well, it's not great. It's good for Halloween costumes. I really wouldn't want to wear this on a daily basis, but it's this delightfully red, tomato red ponch fabric. So it's double knit, polyester. It's great for Halloween costumes. But yeah, this is going to be the main fabric, and I'm being smart, I'm being good, and making a muslin. And yeah, it looks like a gray blob right now, but trust me when I say it's a muslin, it's coming together, and it has a very interesting construction. Yeah, guys, you're not going to be able to make out any of this, but it's coming together, trust me. The only thing I will say is that this is probably not the best fabric to use for this particular muslin, just because I'm using a very fine shirting material, and shirting is typically used as the name suggests, to make blouses, shirts, and it also can be used for lining. And so it's very thin, unlike the thick texture of the ponch fabric. This has got some weight to it. It's a little stretchy, but for all intents and purposes, you know, it's a Halloween costume. I'm not too precious about it. I just want to make sure that it fits in all the right areas, and I don't have to make any crazy adjustments. So it's a casual muslin, but it's coming together. I just have to sew the skirt on, and then we will have an idea of whether or not it will fit. Anyway, it's all going to be in the vlog, so you can watch my process from start to finish, and that will be available for all member tiers. So if you want to just come in on the Mauve Hearts tier, you'll also get the vlog for the Halloween costume. All right, my friends, I'm gonna end things there. Thank you so much, as always, for hanging out with me. If you're new here, welcome. If you haven't already, feel free to like and subscribe down below. And until the next video, have an amazing weekend. Hope to see you at Rhinebeck on Sunday. Again, please do come up and say hello if you see me walking around. I would love to meet you. But if not, I hope you have a fabulous weekend still, and knit all the things, make all the things, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.